What's good, YouTube? This is BoxingWave, and we're back with another fight breakdown. Next weekend, George Kambosos is going to be facing Devin Haney, June 4th, next Saturday. It's going to be on ESPN, and it's going to be officially for Undisputed. All right? And when I say that, it's been a lot of controversy on whether or not these last couple of fights between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez, which were unification matches, and then Teofimo defending against George Kambosos, where Kambosos won in his most recent fight, whether or not these fights were undisputed. But this is actually officially undisputed for now. Before, it was all this controversy about the WBC title, which George Kambosos has, but he has a franchise title, whereas Devin Haney has the full WBC title. All right, he was awarded that title once. He's changed the WBC World Super World title to a franchise title. Okay, so this is the real undisputed fight. Okay, because Devin is coming in with that title, and George has the franchise title. So whoever wins this is officially undisputed. Okay, if we do get a winner at 135. All right. Devin Haney, 23 years old, 27 fights, 27 wins, 15 KOs, no losses. All right. 5'8" in height. Believe he's about 71-inch reach, somewhere around that. He's coming in orthodox fighter. You got George Kambosos. He's 28 years old. Been pro for about 10 years. 10, almost 9, 10 years. He's a little taller, 5'9" in height, 68-inch reach, a little shorter reach. 20 wins, 10 knockouts, no losses. All right. Both undefeated fighters, both coming off some of their best wins. Devin Haney has been coming off of good wins, beating Moran, Abdulayev, Santiago, Gamboa. Who else did he beat? Jojo Diaz and Jorge Linares, former champion Jorge Linares. All right, these are all of the wins that he's coming off. A lot of these fights I recently watched again this past week. Then George is coming off of some of his best wins against a Mickey Bay, Lee Selby, and of course the big fight between him and Teofimo Lopez, where he was a 13-1 underdog. All right. This is a very good fight. And in this breakdown here, I'm going to talk about the fighters, the styles, and what they can do to win. But I'm also going to go into the politics of it. And I'm going to explain, I've read a lot of comments on the fight. I want to break down a lot of things that people have said leading up to this fight. A lot of things that people believe as far as how this fight can go. All right. But I'm always going to give you my breakdown. I'm going to give you a prediction based on how I feel the fight will go and the way I will see it going. But there's always, the judges at the end of the day. And we'll speak on that later. All right. Let's begin with George Kambosos. One key thing I've noticed about George, or the two key things, is that he has excellent speed. All right. He relies more on speed than power. He's not a big puncher. All right. He can punch. Don't get it twisted. He was able to drop Teofimo Lopez, but it's more about speed, timing, and he's a great counterpuncher. All right. That's his key thing. He's a well-rounded fighter, but the speed is one thing that, even Devin Haney, who's a very quick fighter, very good hand speed. We know this. George's hand speed is very underrated. In fact, I believe that he is quicker than Jorge Linares was when he fought Devin Haney. Linares has always been a quick fighter, always had fast hands. But as I watched George over the last few days, watching him against Lee Selby, watching him against Teofimo Lopez, his hand speed stands out amongst the elite fighters like a Devin Haney at 135. Definitely stands out. Again, the timing. All right. I don't believe he has the arsenal that Devin Haney, and I don't believe he's as versatile. They're both orthodox fighters, but I don't think that he's as versatile. I think Devin brings a little bit more as far as just the punch variations and the combinations and the setups. I think he could do a little bit more, but I think that his counter punching and his timing and his patience make up for it. You know what I'm saying? He really tries to make every single punch count. He's well conditioned. Whatever George you're gonna get in the first round, you're gonna get pretty close to that in the 12th round. He's a very durable fighter, and it's proven that he's very durable because he got knocked over the head all fight long against Teofimo Lopez and was able to withstand the onslaught, the power from Teofimo Lopez, who we know is a huge hitter. All right? Huge KO artist. Was able to take right hands from him all night long. Did get dropped at some point and was hurt, but he recovered well and finished the fight. That fight strong. All right, so you have to give him a lot of credit for that. All right, watching the Mickey Bey fight, which a very close, very slow fight though because of the styles. Mickey Bey is a guy that's a very patient fighter himself. All right, works behind the jab, not a big power puncher, very quick himself. It was definitely a chess match between the two, so it was very slow. But I only watched that fight specifically because Mickey is an orthodox fighter. He has a good jab. I know he has good hand speed. I think he brings a little bit of what Devin can bring, but Devin can bring much more to him. But also Mickey, as far as I'm concerned, Mickey is in the corner. If not in the corner, will at least he has a relationship with Devin where, since he has the experience fighting with George Kambosos, you can just say that he's part of the camp, So there is some kind of help there with the Mickey Bey fight, being that they did fight. Also, Lee Selby, another guy who knew how to, fight behind the jab and use that distance and movement to keep Kambosos out of range. We're going to see some of that with Devin Haney. Another good fight to watch. Again, I feel like Devin can do more than him. I think Devin can do more than Mickey Bey. But a good fight to watch. And then you have Devin Haney. Not Devin Haney. Teofimo Lopez. That fight. What I got out of that fight is just how durable George is. How patient and how he stuck to the game plan, how well conditioned he was, and how disciplined he was. He stuck to the game plan. He was able to face adversity in that fight in the very first round and score a knockdown when he was just getting attacked and rushed. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't fold under pressure. And I'm not expecting him to in this fight, neither. All right, so these are all good fights that to watch, to go back and see what they really bring. Again, Kambosos, really good hooker. All right, great at timing and countering the jab with his hook. He has a good overhand right, very quick, not the most powerful, but one that can catch you off guard. As Teofimo Lopez, he caught one in the first round, and he caught one right after Teo got back up. He caught another. George Kambosos is very quick, very fast, faster than anyone that Devin Haney has faced up to this point. All right, great timing. It's all about the timing again. No wasted punches. All right, good hooker, and he has a very sneaky uppercut. You can't miss out on that. But overall, as good as patient as he is, he's patient most of the time. 75% of the time, he's patient. You know what I'm saying? He likes the pot shot, But it's the other 25% where he likes to ambush you. And that's what you got to really worry about because, most of the time, he's trying to pick you apart with one or two shots, maybe a 1-2 here, maybe an overhand right here, maybe a left hook here. But then he'll try to ambush you and throw and land a combination that you won't see coming, and it's fast. He'll step in, throw an uppercut, follow it up with a left hook. You gotta watch him because he's an ambush fighter, you know, and he's very aggressive when he ambushes you, and that's something that the judges may like, you know. So those are the key things with George Kambosos. Now, when I watch Devin Haney, you know, going back to the Moran fight, the Santiago fight, Devin Haney is a big time jabber. All right, lots of jabs. All right, a lot of changing levels, a lot of feints. The jab, everything he do is behind the jab. All right, he's gonna be jabbing to the body. All right, even when he's in, you know, he's on the outside, he's gonna throw jabs. As he's coming in, he's changing levels. He's jabbing to the body. Even at close range, he's constantly jabbing. All right. So Devin Haney is definitely going to win the jab war between the two. All right. Combinations. All right. Always throwing the right hand behind the jab. All right. Might step in, go to the body, you know, smother you a little bit. That's the one thing about Devin Haney that people tend to overlook. We see the part where the side where he's in a Gamboa fight, where he's just keeping his distance. He's not being, you know, there's not a lot of volume there. He's being extremely cautious, extremely defensive. People are not looking at the Jorge Linares fight where he's taking a lot of risks, stepping in, throwing combinations, getting in, staying in the danger zone where Jorge Linares pretty much wanted him to be. You know, I was just watching that fight. I was on live yesterday discussing this fight, watching it live. And I was saying Devin Haney is taking a lot of risk in this fight. Even after he was hurt in the 10th round, he was still taking risk in the 11th and 12th rounds. Okay? By putting himself in the danger zone. He's not just always on the outside. He can fight well on the inside. And I think he has a superior inside game than George Kambosos. Okay? Not much of an ambush fighter, though. You know, because he's just constantly throwing punches. He's constantly throwing combinations. All right. He's leading with the hook, but he likes to pick and choose when he wants to go in for the combinations and step out, land the shot, step out, be on the move. He's a very good counter puncher on top of that. All right. But again, he relies more on speed, volume, accuracy, not like the way George does it. But again, he's not a big power puncher. This is more about, you know, being on the attack and not really taking much damage. He's a defensive fighter for the most part, but a defensive one that likes to take risks and mixes it up, you know, not so defensive on a level as Shakur Stevenson. You know, I know we like to compare the two a lot. Stevenson's a better defender. I do believe that, you know, he's just a little bit sharper with the reflexes, you know, but I also feel that Devin Haney takes more risk and was more willing to bring the fight straight to you. You know, he stays in a pocket a lot longer as well. He throws more punches. You know, and he's just more willing to trade and exchange. I think some flaws are there defensively as well. You know, sometimes when he likes to hook, I think he doesn't keep his right hands up. I think he doesn't really keep his hands up high. You know, I think sometimes when he throws jabs, he's not really prepared about the counter jab or whatever's getting thrown back at him. I think he has to be careful of the overhand right of Kambosos and stuff. I think there's certain flaws that he leave. You know, I think there's certain periods where he leaves himself open to get countered. We saw that in the Jorge Linares fight where, you know, Linares was able to counter him with left hooks. Linares was coming in with that high guard and was just trying to counter Haney with the left hook, which he was successful at times. But it also goes to show that Devin Haney doesn't have as bad as a chin that people say he is. And let's talk about that before moving on. Devin Haney, you know, and I expressed this yesterday if you guys were watching me live yesterday. I don't necessarily know where it came from that Devin Haney is just some chinny fighter. All right. He's never been down. He's never been down in his career. I know Jorge Linares hurt him bad in that 10th round, and I don't think he fully recovered in the 11th and 12th. But Jorge Linares has always been a puncher. All right, Jorge Linares dropped Lomachenko in their fight. Didn't drop Devin Haney. Jorge Linares has always been a puncher. Period. You know what I'm saying? And he also connected with the one shot that he's knocked plenty of people out, which is the short right hand. Which, if you saw my breakdown of that fight, or even some of the film study that I posted on Instagram, I felt like that was going to be the punch that Haney needed to worry about. And that's the punch he got caught with. You know, and I think if anyone got caught from the top tier fighters, anyone at 135 got caught with that same shot, they would have been hurt too. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know, Lomachenko got caught with it a couple of times, even outside of getting knocked down. He got caught with a right hand, the same right hand, and he got rocked a little bit. You know, he didn't go down, but again, Devin Haney hasn't shown any signs of being a chinny fighter. I don't know what this is coming from, but if it is true, we'll see it. But I don't know where we getting that from. He's never been knocked down. Again, he hasn't really been badly hurt by anyone outside of Jorge Linares. So I don't know where that's coming from. You know, a lot of people felt that Jojo Diaz was going to be the one to test him. And Devin Haney was able to win that fight clear. All right. So anyway, well, how do I see this fight going? Well, I think Devin Haney is going to be the more consistent one. And I think with the adjustments that he can make, I think he can always find different ways to win the fight. George's success will be the aggressive ambushing, you know. I think also the counters, the left hooks that he land, the right overhand rights, the big punches that he's going to land from time to time can always win him certain rounds if there's not much action going on. Like, let's say Devin Haney is outscoring him, but it's not landing anything heavy. And then George lands a big overhand right that might catch his, you know, the eye of the crowd or the eye of the judges and the viewers. And I think those are those rounds where I could see George win. All right. Devin Haney, though, I feel will be more consistent. I think there's going to be a point. I think a lot of people expecting George to be more aggressive is going to find out that Haney is going to be more aggressive, especially when he starts to walk George down and fights more on the inside. You know, I think that's where Haney is really going to shine in this fight. Once he decides to say, all right, you know what? We're not going to just fight on the outside and try to outscore each other. I'm going to walk you down and break you down on the inside, do the better work on the inside. I think that's where Haney is clearly superior. On the outside, it's an even match, in my opinion, you know, because I think Haney will work more, but I think George might land some of the bigger punches, the eye-catching shots. But I think when they fight on the inside in those rounds, like when I was watching the Linares fight, the fourth round was a big round for Linares, but the fifth and sixth were rounds for Haney. Fifth was the biggest round for Haney because he decided to close the gap and work on the inside where you wouldn't expect him to work, you know? So Devin Haney does the better work on the inside, and I think those are the rounds where it's going to be clear for him because he's going to look like the aggressor in those rounds, all right? But I think there's going to be changes throughout Devin Haney's strategy each round, which may ultimately lead to him being a more consistent fighter, winning more rounds. I believe that Devin Haney will win more rounds between the two. All right? I believe that. So the way I see and I predict the fight, I think Haney will outscore and win more rounds than George Kambosos. Okay? I think he's way more disciplined than Teofimo Lopez. I think overall the round by round consistency in Haney is better than what Teo can bring, what Selby can bring, what Mickey Bay brought. I think he does better than those guys. All right, round by round. All right, doesn't have the power that Teofimo has. But the boxing ability is superior in my opinion. The defense is superior. He's not reckless. He's going into this fight to win rounds, to outscore you, to outbox you. So I think in that space, he wins more rounds to me. But I can see George winning more rounds as far as him landing more eye-catching shots. But I'm picking Devin Haney to win more rounds. Now, when it comes to all of the politics, everybody's talking about Australia. All right, the thing about Australia is, yes, that could be a factor. Devin Haney, the outsider, the guy that's coming in with literally one belt. All right, you're going to fight the champ in his backyard, in his country. All right, it happens often here in America. People come here to fight all the time. George hasn't fought back at home in five fights at least. All right, and he's never fought in front of this crowd. So I understand what people are saying. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and talk about not Arizona, Australia all day. At the end of the day, this is what fighters have to do to become great. Haney can just sit back and fight in Vegas his whole career. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to become unified. He's not going to just get what he wants if he chooses to fight his own way, how he wants it in every single scenario. Not everybody has that privilege. Not everyone has that. Not every fighter can just stay in New York their whole career, or Texas or Vegas. It doesn't work that way. He wants to be great. He's going to go to Australia and do what he has to do. All right. And in order to beat the champ, again, we're forgetting other things. Not only are they fighting in Australia, but he's fighting the champ. He's fighting the true champ. So even if they were fighting in America, it doesn't matter. He's fighting the guy that just came off the bigger win. He's fighting the guy that's bringing more belts to this fight. So even if they were fighting here in Vegas, the judges might have the idea. A lot of people still view these fights based on you got to beat the champ. A lot of people feel that way. That's like an old school way of thinking when it comes to scoring fights. You have to beat the champ. It doesn't always happen that way, but a lot of people feel that you have to beat the champ. So even if it was in Vegas, he still has to beat the champ. So mentally, he should be going in a fight wanting to look dominant. Period. Now, another factor is this is an ESPN fight. He's going to fight George under his promotion. Devin Haney just signed, a 3-fight deal, I believe, with ESPN and Top Rank because he was independent for a little while, Eddie Hearn was his promoter, but he was free to fight wherever he wants. He made that choice. The one catch when it comes to that is that because you don't fight for a specific promoter or network and you're not signed for a long stretch, at the end of the day, any promoter is going to take care of their fighter before they take care of you. Any network is going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking for long term. So at the end of the day, we can sit here and talk about politics all night, all day long. At the end of the day, Devin Haney has to do what he has to do. It seems like everything is against him. His pops won't be in his corner. Ben Davison won't be in his corner. These guys don't have the visas to go to the fight. They're not going to be there. Yoel Judah is going to be in the corner of Devin Haney, who is his father-in-law, or not father-in-law, of his godfather. He's been there all his life, which is great. But at the end of the day, Devin Haney made the decision. I'm a man. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to handle my business. It's only up to him at this point. What I don't want to do is take away from how challenging this fight is over all of the politics surrounding this fight. Even if you took the belts, the networks, the promoters, the location of the fight away, George Kambosos is going to be a difficult fight for Devin Haney. Regardless of all the other stuff, George Kambosos is the best fighter that Devin Haney has fought to this point. He's better than JoJo Diaz, in my opinion. He's better than Jorge Linares, Gamboa, at least, all Santiago, all those guys I named. He's better than all of those guys. This is a dangerous fight for Haney, even without including the Australia part and all of these other things that people keep bringing up. So let's not go into the fight thinking, he's going to get robbed. He's going to win, but he's going to get robbed. It's possible with every fight. We see robberies all of the time. Devin Haney needs to go in there thinking, I have to win and I have to make it clear because I'm the visitor here. Kambosos, at the end of the day, did choose him. He did choose him. He didn't have to fight Devin Haney. He didn't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? And being that he did, all right, he did it, good. He didn't go with Lomachenko. I mean, obviously, he could have went with Lomachenko because of, all the thing that's going on in Ukraine. Yeah, this fight could have definitely not happened, but it is happening at the end of the day. And that's all we got. We got the fight. Now it's up to Devin Haney to go out there and perform and do the best that he could and try to make it as clear as he can. All right. I also believe that Devin Haney is the best fighter for George because I know that Teofimo came in that fight a heavy favorite. I know that Teofimo, had a bigger win, but Teofimo fought a terrible fight. This guy wanted to knock him out in one round. Devin Haney is not trying to knock him out in one round. Devin Haney is trying to win the boxing match. I don't think anyone is going to be knocked out in this fight. I think there's a chance for both sides to land and score a flash knockdown. But I'm not expecting a knockout from either side. If it happens, it happens. It's boxing at the end of the day. But I'm not really expecting a knockout. I'm expecting, I think that a flash knockdown could occur. Again, both are pretty fast. Both got great timing. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if someone takes a knee, but I don't think anyone is going to be like badly hurt to a point where they could get stopped. All right. So look, I'm picking Devin Haney to win this fight. I just think overall Devin brings more to the fight. If it's a close fight, and I think it's very possible. I think it's a great chance that this is a close fight. I think George can get it. Again, if this is one of those 7-5 type of fights where I think Devin Haney pulled it off 7 rounds to 5s, 115, 113, and there's swing rounds in there, even if it's 8 rounds to 4 and there's swing rounds in there and George gets it, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not even going to be that mad. If there's a draw, I won't, I wouldn't be surprised. Why? Because there's a rematch clause in this. So if Devin wins the fight, there's a rematch clause. If there's a draw, there's a rematch clause. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going to run it back anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I think Devin would have to absolutely dominate this fight. And I don't know if he can. And if he does, I think he has all the motivation in the world. I know there's a lot of things that's missing. I know he's not fighting in Vegas. I know he doesn't have his pops. But all of that could be motivation. Again, you can't leave out the fact that George has never fought at this stage neither. I know what he did coming to New York and being Teofimo Lopez here was big. But going back and fighting in front of your home crowd where you haven't fought in a while or you've never fought in a giant arena in a crowd full of people that are expecting for you to perform, especially after being Teofimo Lopez. Because people feel like that was a more dangerous fight. You have a lot of pressure on yourself as well because of that crowd and you wanting to perform at home. All right. So anyway, I have Devin Haney winning a decision in a close fight. I do believe that it can go differently from how I see it based on the judges. Yes, I'm not going to dismiss the fact that the judges could be a factor. At the end of the day, they're the ones that score in the fight. All right, but again, I'm not gonna be on here crying if the fight is very, very close and they give it to George. I'm just not. It is what it is. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here, man. Got more breakdowns on the way. Stephen Fulton, Daniel Roman should be next. Tank Davis and Rolly Romero, that breakdown is already out, so be sure to check that out. If you are new, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and hit the thumbs up if you like the content. Share the video if you can, and I'll see you in the next one.